जैसे मैंने आपको कहा था कि आज हमारे कुछ खुसूसी मेहमान हमारे साथ होंगे। सबसे पहले प्रोग्राम में वेलकम करना चाहेंगे एम्बेसडर जमील अहमद खान साहब को। पाकिस्तान के सफ़ीर रह चुके हैं, बहुत सारे इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस के मौज़ूआत पे आप इनसे हमारी गुफ्तगू सुनते रहते हैं। आज इट्स अ प्लेजर टू हैव हिम फिज़िकली पर्सनली इन द स्टूडियो। सो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया जमील साहब फॉर मेकिंग टाइम फॉर अस। एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली आवर गेस्ट in the studios and in the city of Karachi is the newly appointed British Deputy High Commissioner to Karachi. We're very, very honored to have in our studios Mr. Lance Dom. Thank you very much, High Commissioner, for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you, and please tell us about your first experiences of this city that has gotten warm really quickly. I promise you, this is not the usual march in Karachi, but I think this is a warm welcome for you.
Thank you so much, and it's a great pleasure to be here in the studio. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a great pleasure to be in Karachi as well. I arrived 3 weeks ago, and you're right, it's a lot warmer than it was when I left London. 5 degrees and suddenly 30 degrees, so it's a big change, but it's a fantastic city. I've been so humbled to meet so many Karachiites already, and they've been extremely welcoming to me.
I think you'll notice in a couple of more weeks that Karachi happens to be the most diverse and the biggest cosmopolitan city of Pakistan. It's literally a hub, a melting pot for so many cultures. Have you noticed the diversity?
Absolutely. Before I arrived in Karachi, I was reading about it, preparing to come here, and I heard about the diversity and the vibrancy of the city and its cosmopolitan nature, and it was one thing that really attracted me to coming here. And since I've been here, I've really noticed it. You have people from all walks of life, all parts of Pakistan, internationally as well, and that cosmopolitan sense in the city is something which is really, really positive.
And in terms of the architecture and the essence of the city is often lauded to be a colonial city. You'll see a lot of colonial times architecture around it. In fact, your own residence is quite historic and iconic. What's your impression of that?
It has, you're absolutely right, it has buildings going back many hundreds of years to the modern day. I've been to some of the fabulous examples, Mohatta Palace, I've been to the Freya Hall, but also the Quaid-e-Azam Mausoleum, which of course is a more modern structure, but is a very, very beautiful place to be.
Absolutely, very iconic and quite close to our studios as well. Jameel Saab, I'd love your comment on this as well. पहली दफ़ा जब कोई सफ़ीर किसी भी शहर में जाता है, आपका भी ये experience रहा है. Please tell us about your experience when you go to a new city, just like Lance has shared, you prepare for it. And in the modern day, of course, because of social media and internet and so many connections being vibrant, it's easier. But is it daunting to come to a new city or a new country?
Well, it's always, one of the patterns, I would say, with the diplomats, that before you arrive in any city, you try and familiarize yourself,
True.
And by the time you reach there, you start feeling that, as soon as possible, you are able to feel at home, and that really breaks the barrier between the people and those who are accredited to that country. And once that happens, the people-to-people relation and the public diplomacy, it starts just attaining a new trajectory.
It takes a life of its own.
Very
and you
true.
make such deep connections and friendships. Like over the last many years, we've had several diplomats and several people from the diplomatic community come on the show. And the bonds we've created, even when they complete their term in Karachi, we sort of maintain those bonds. So Jameel Saab, what has been one of the most exciting experiences in your diplomatic journey? Which city or which country did you find to be the most fulfilling or inspiring?
Well, UAE was one of those countries where I could find that I attended to the bilateral, of course, that was the purpose and that was the accreditation, and I was supposed to do that. But beyond that, it was multilateral diplomacy which came on my way, and that started attracting me a lot more in the international diplomacy and the global geopolitics. So that was one aspect. And second, UAE was one place where I found the diplomats, normally they were so seasoned that you can discuss with them anything, And once we would interact amongst ourselves, we would just touch upon not only the UAE dynamics, but also so many other happenings of the world, which we will do that. And that was enriching, a mutual benefiting thing. So that was one aspect. Then the second aspect is that, our newly arrived diplomat He's very fond of sports. You can see him, you know, the fitness and the shape. So the diplomats, once they go there, and whatever they are good at and whatever is very close to their heart, they try and just propel that.
But Jamil Sahab, I must tell you, people are already fasting. It's a 12-hour fast, and we are still quite sore after the last cricket championship.
Yes.
So we'll probably stay away from the subject of that. But are there any other sports that catch your eye and you're passionate about?
Well,
barring cricket
I should
for now.
probably not talk about the cricket, but I have to say, I did go to my first day in Karachi was the 19th of February, which was the opening day of the ICC
Wonderful.
Champions Trophy, and I did manage to get to the Karachi Stadium. Everything was fantastic except the result, unfortunately. And then I went back again to see England against South Africa. Again, perfect atmosphere, great stadium. The only problem was the result.
But
So
I think we must celebrate the wins again. I mean, it's amazing that after so many years, an ICC championship was hosted in Pakistan. There were hiccups, there were problems, but what is your best takeaway from the experience?
I just thought it was a great example of people coming together. You know, there were fans in the match that I saw. I saw New Zealand fans, England fans, South African fans being in Karachi, enjoying the city and enjoying the cricket, even if the results didn't always go the right way. So mixing also with the local Pakistani people, which was a great pleasure to have all of these cultures together. I'm a fan of all sports, so I will watch cricket or football or tennis or golf. I'm really mad for all
Since you mentioned golf, we have a brilliant 125-year-old golf course in Karachi that you must visit, and I'm sure you'll absolutely enjoy the greenscapes over there. But Jamil Saab, coming back to the festival, to the holy month of Ramadan itself, I think as a diplomat, I would love your comment on the fact that every country of the world is now being as inclusive towards their the diversity of the population as they can. We see examples of that in Canada, in Europe, and I was so pleasant. In fact, I started my show, the Ramadan Transmission, with a special report on how the Leicester Square to the Piccadilly Circus this year, like the last year as well, we had the brilliant Ramadan lights go up in London. What's your take on that?
You know, this becomes such a month where the interaction among the people, the purification of your soul and heart, where you have all kind of activities such as the variety of food, such as showing the magnanimity of, you know, sharing your joys and sharing your whatever you have. So once the various events are arranged, not only by the people, but also there are various organizations, including the Bobbies of Scotland. They also arrange so many events of their own, and likewise, if you go to any of the counties, place in UK, there would be some activity or the other. Likewise in the world.
These brilliant examples of community spirit, where I've seen various community spaces, including churches, being opened up for special prayers and special arrangements during the month of Ramadan world over, and also in the UK. I was also very pleasantly surprised to learn about how the Windsor Castle opened the gates for over 1,000 people coming in and having iftar together. You're also rolling out the red carpet today.
that's correct. I'm having my welcome iftar at my residence this evening. It's going to be a great occasion. Like I said before, I've been really humbled by the hospitality of the people of Karachi since I've arrived, and now it's my turn to host some of them at my
It is so interesting that you mentioned that, because you know, sometimes food and culture brings people together in a wonderful way. Very recently, right before Ramadan, we had the Canada Day celebrations that I was invited to, and you know, one of the things I want to share with the gentleman here is that we had you know, some kind of a culinary fusion happening there. So poutine happens to be a very famous offering of the Canadian cuisine, and we combined that with the nihari gravy, and it became nihari poutine. And then of course the lobster rolls got replaced by the local shrimp, and we had shrimp rolls happening. So can we expect to see some kind of a creative twist in the iftar today?
Well, I'm not so I don't know actually. That's a little secret for people to arrive this evening, but Karachi is famous for its food, and I've already had the chance to sample some of the magnificent biryani, pani puri, and so on. So I know that Karachi is a huge food city, and yeah, there's always a British twist. I mean, honestly, we consider Pakistani food almost to be British food because we eat so much of it in the UK.
In fact, our chef today will be making a few of the things. When we were discussing the menu, I did recommend to her, let's do something chicken tikka related, because although it originated from this place, but UK and the British menus have adapted it to such a degree, and they can almost take our level of spice, heat. Jameel Saab, what do you say to that?
I tell you, it's a novelty there. And all my British friends, while I was studying there, most of them would go to these restaurants where we have all these dishes. And at that time, I found that there were very few restaurants who would have katakat, or for that matter, halim.
आपको याद होगा, बल्कि फॉर आवर व्यूअर्स हम बताते चलें, बाल्टी गोश्त बड़ा मशहूर है, जो कि कश्मीर से ओरिजिनेट करता है यूके में. इसके अलावा बिरयानी का भी जिक्र हो रहा था, और चिकन टिक्का जो कि वहाँ पे जब प्रोनाउंस किया जाता है तो उसको चिकन टिक्का मसाला कहते हैं. सो आज हमारे पास इस तरह की बहुत सारी हम देखते हैं शेफ़ सिमरा क्या बनाने लगी हैं. एंड मे बी इफ़ आई कैन रिक्वेस्ट द जेंटलमैन टू जॉइन मी इन द किचन एज वेल, बट फॉर दैट लेट्स टेक अ क्विक ब्रेक एंड बी राइट बैक.